Hello everybody, welcome. Thank you for clicking on this video. In this video, we're going to show you how to use the PMT or payment function in Excel. We're going to go through an example here and we're going to model out two scenarios side by side. And it's going to be for the purpose of kind of modeling out credit card consolidation. So we're going to show you can use PMT to calculate the change in monthly payment and also the change in your interest paid over the two different scenarios. So one question I get asked a lot, I hear a lot from people is, oh, I got all this credit card debt, and I can't get off from under all the interest. And so people have asked me, should I consolidate it to a personal loan? And I always tell them, yes, absolutely, because you're going to probably pay 20% less in interest over a couple of years, and the savings on that can actually be pretty significant and can save you a lot of money, and you can pay the loan off a lot quicker and not be buried under a mountain of debt. So we're going to use that particular example here in this video to just model these out and show you how you can do this. But the ultimate purpose of this video is to basically just show you how you can use this for yourself, because I do use this a lot for just my own, loan considerations. I'm looking at maybe taking out a loan on something at different interest rates and kind of just calculating, the monthly payment and kind of how quickly I can pay it off and pay the less interest or least amount of interest, so on and so forth. So it can be used for a lot of different ways. I think this is probably the most effective way for a lot of people, is to kind of show maybe kind of a real world scenario of people looking to consolidate credit card debt. So let's just jump right into it here. So PMT is basically going to focus on three inputs. So they're going to have what they're going to call PV, or present value. That's essentially just your current outstanding balance, or let's say you're looking to take on a loan. It'll be the total borrowed amount. Then we'll do an interest input. We're also going to do a monthly payoff amount. This is going to be in number of months. We're going to do it in years, because most people don't really pay it off in like 6-month increments. We'll just do years and multiply by 12. So those three are going to be just the present value, outstanding balance, the interest input, and then the payoff period, the number of months. So we're going to model these two scenarios out here side by side. So we'll call the first one here just scenario 1, let's say high interest credit card. And we'll go over here to the right and we'll do scenario 2. And we'll call this just personal loan. It doesn't necessarily have to be a personal loan, but something with a much lower and a fixed interest rate that you can consolidate your debt to, let's just say. So again, the first input is going to be like your balance, so present value they call it. So we'll just put outstanding balance. And so for this example, we're going to assume you got $20,000 of credit card debt. So we're actually going to go on the right side here. To make sure this is the same, we'll just do a cell reference here. We'll equal back to D4, press F4 to lock it. So now we're always using the same balance, because what we will do is once we have this all built and set up, we're going to play with these inputs a bit and show you how this can all variably change. So now you need an interest input. So this one here we have to make separate between the two, because we're going to be comparing high interest to lower interest. So we actually have to do an annual interest rate first. So let's say like 30%. So I'll just actually explain this for a second. So typically what you're going to see on like your credit card statement is going to be like a monthly interest. So if they tell you it's, let's say, 28%, for example, that's annual. You have to take that and divide it by 12 to get your monthly rate. So interest compounds monthly. So we're going to do both annual and monthly. And that's actually how this is going to work too with the formula, is it's looking at number of months to repay. So we want to also have a monthly interest rate to compound that. So what we're going to do is just simply go equals the 30% divided by 12. That's all it is. So we'll also copy this over the same way to scenario 2. We're going to use a 10% here. So I actually don't know what personal loans are getting nowadays. You have to kind of apply for one, or kind of get pre-approved for one to see the different options. And typically it's going to be where the more years you go out, the higher the rate's going to be. The quicker you pay it back, the less interest they'll charge you. So we'll just say 10 for now. I don't know what it really is, but we'll say 10. And so also too, we're going to have now months to repay. So again, we're going to convert this to years. So we're going to say years to pay off. And so we'll just say 3 for each. So yet again, we'll copy this over and we'll do a cell reference back to D7 here and lock it. So again, this is another one of our kind of dynamic variable inputs we're going to play around with. So from here now, we're going to calculate a couple of things. So we're going to do the payment, which is going to be where the PMT function actually gets used. So we'll say monthly payment. And so we'll actually leave these blank for now. We're going to build the formula in these two boxes though separately. Now we're going to calculate some other items here, such as interest paid. So really, this is a pretty simple calculation. You'll see once we build this out, the total repayment minus your outstanding balance is just going to be your interest, because you're paying back principal or balance plus interest. So everything above the balance you pay back is all going to be interest, which is also going to play into this too when we kind of model it out. That you're going to see that the quicker you pay it off, the less interest you're going to pay, because there's less months of compounding interest. So interest paid is another one we're going to put in here. And then we'll also calculate a change here too. So we'll say, well, we'll put it over here. Between the two scenarios, we'll say scenario, let's say 2 minus scenario 1. So a monthly payment, so we'll say a change. We're going to basically calculate the change in monthly payment. So all we're going to do here is just do equals. So scenario 2 monthly payment minus scenario 1 monthly payment. And this should be a negative number with a much lower interest rate. So we'll also do kind of interest paid, or we'll say an interest saved, we'll say. So yet again, it's going to be a simple change. So interest paid of scenario 2 minus interest paid in scenario 1. So once these get going, you'll see it's going to show the total savings among those two. So when we build the PMT function here, again, we have all of our inputs now. So we've got our present value, we've got our interest. We're going to use the monthly though, not the annual. Then our years to pay off. So because this is looking at number of months, not years, we got to do times 12 to get to the number of months. So we'll bring up the formula wizard here and build this from scratch. So here's FX, this FX button here in the middle. Click on that. If PMT is not listed, you can search for it here and click go, but mine's already listed, so I'll just do PMT. So now we've got 3 inputs. So again, the rate, that's going to be the interest rate. So again, it mentions an APR, we're using monthly, right? So we'll take the rate and we'll just click on our monthly interest rate here, reference the cell. And PER is total number of payments. So this again is going to be, so years to pay off, so 3 years, but we're going to do times 12 to get the number of months. And then again, PV is balance, so that's just your $20,000 there. So it says the present value, the total amount that a series of future payments is worth. That just simply means your outstanding balance, pretty much, like what it's worth today. So we'll lock that one, we'll press OK. So now we get a number here of $849.03. And this does show backwards, so I always kind of just do times -1 to get a plus payment. This is basically saying that in order to pay off $20,000 with 3% interest per month, which is a lot, by the way, over 3 years it'll cost you $849.03 a month. Or what you can do is you can take, so now to figure out your interest paid, you're going to do, actually let's do this, actually I'm going to change this. We'll move this one down one. We'll do our total payback amount. So that's going to just be your $849.03 times 3 years times 12 months. So you're going to pay back $30,565.14 over 3 years compared to a balance of $20,000. That means you're going to pay in total in interest. So again, we're going to take the total payback minus the balance, $10,565.14 in interest at a 30% annual interest rate, or APR, and a 3% monthly interest rate. So now, doing the other scenario at a 10% rate, right? Everything else is the same. The only thing that's different here is the interest rate. We'll do the exact same formula again. So we'll put the total payback here. Let's build this out. So monthly payment times years times 12. And interest paid is going to be total payback minus outstanding balance. So this will give us, once we build the formula, this will give us our number. So again, you can bring up the formula wizard here, bring up PMT. So our rate is going to be, again, our monthly rate. So each 6. And PER is our number of total payments, so the number of months. So we'll go here to, again, 3 times 12. And our present value is our balance, so our $20,000. Now here we get a number of, and let me actually do this the other way, times a -1. Oops, format this. Okay, it's a pretty big difference, isn't it? So this time now, over the course of 3 years, at 10% a year as opposed to 30, you're going to pay back $23,232.37 compared to a starting balance of $20,000. A total interest paid of only $3,232 compared to over $10,000 in this version, right? Again, everything's the same. 3 years, $20,000. The only difference is your interest. But that's a big difference in interest. 3% a month versus 1% a month. The difference here is going to be over $7,000 of interest or $7,000 of payback, and a difference of $204 a month. That could probably make a lot of difference for some people, huh? If you had $200 more a month to do whatever you want with, that could free you up a lot of extra cash to pay other bills or even save money, right? Try to get yourself out of debt. Save money to reinvest in other ways. So I want to just do one more scenario with this, kind of just play with these inputs a little bit, because I think one thing I've found in talking to people about their credit card debt and things is they don't understand how big of an impact interest rate really has. Now, I've demonstrated in this video, you've seen it, right? From 30 to 10, I mean, you can save over $7,000 of interest over 3 years paying back your credit cards, right? You've already seen it, but you can see it can go even further. I think people don't quite understand just how effective interest rate really is. And I'm going to show you another scenario here with this, just in the same model of how this can help you. So, 30% is a crazy number regardless, and 10% is a huge drop from that, but you can go lower than that. I got a personal loan maybe like a year ago. It was around 7-8%. So I know you can get down at least that low, even at current interest rate, market rates. So let's say now you go down to 7%. So we'll leave everything else the same. We'll say 3 years to pay back. Everything else is the same. We'll just change this to 7. So all these numbers get a lot better, right? And actually, I'm going to format this because it still looks a little wacky with all those decimal places. So again, 7% per year or 1% per month. That's actually rounding. I'll expand this so it's more like a 0.5% a month. But so 7% a year. So now you're going to save $231.50 a month in payment, and now another $1,000 of interest over 3 years. That can go a long way, right? I mean, we talked about it earlier that even $200 a month for some people is a big deal. It can make a huge difference in your monthly cash flow, and you can take that money then and pay that towards another credit card, or you can just you can invest that or save it or whatever you want to do. I mean, it's a huge difference. So we're going to conclude the video there. Actually, now I want to do more PMT stuff now. I think there's more we can do with this, but I'll save it for a future video. So if you made it this far, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Come back for the next one, and thank you for tuning in.